So, ladies and gentlemen, this is your ultimate guide to completing the Paradox Junction Zombies map Easter egg. Now, my team last night were first in the world, and I wanted to make sure I took a little bit of extra time to make this guide, as it's very easy to follow, extremely comprehensive, and I'll show you a bunch of tips and tricks to get things done as early as possible so you're not burning unnecessary rounds, and you should be able to get this done with this guide, no problem. But as far as loadout goes, I don't really recommend anything too specific. You can bring in an LMG or an AR, something with range is going to be good for the boss fight, although you will have a boss fight weapon by the time you get there. But as far as Gobblegum, I do recommend Perkaholic, gift cards if you have them, Hidden Power can be really good as well. Just anything that can give you points, because you will need to be spending quite a bit of points going back and forth between the two sections of Nuketown. So believe it or not, as soon as you spawn into the map, there's a bunch of Easter egg steps you can do, and you can also potentially get wonder weapon pieces right off the bat. As soon as you enter the map, I recommend taking a lap around Nuketown and looking for these yellow cysts. If you find a yellow cyst that is making a special humming sound, it sounds like this. You're going to want to be listening for this at any of these cysts on the map. Now, if you get lucky, you should be able to find it very quickly. If not, it could be in a section that we can access a little bit later, but basically you can access a wonder weapon part on round 1 if you find it. Now, if you find a yellow cyst that's making this humming sound, you can just collect a whole bunch of zombie souls here very early on in the game, and it should spit out a blundergat barrel once it's full. If you aren't able to find the cyst, don't worry, it's just going to be on the other side once we open a pack-a-punch, so it's just not too big of a deal if you cannot find it. Don't worry about that too much. But another thing you can do is head to the back of yellow and grab the keys off of this body. This will allow us access to move the truck to get to Pack-a-Punch. But you can also head upstairs in the yellow house and grab a vial off of this container. Once you've collected that vial, you should see it in your inventory pop up, but then head over to the greenhouse and interact with the sink right here, and that should allow you to fill the vial with acid. Now, another thing you're going to want to do, if you've listened out for that blundergat cyst, you're going to be listening for that same sound once again, but this time coming from a mannequin, and it can be anywhere in the Nuketown section. So just run around to each mannequin with a head that you can find, and one of them should be making this humming sound. Once again, if you cannot find it right now, it's most likely behind Pack-a-Punch, but if you want to do it early, I recommend looking in the yellow and green houses. If you find that mannequin, just take note of it, but don't do anything just yet. Now, what we're going to do right after that is pass the next couple of rounds until we get our dog round on 6, and once we clear the dog round, it should automatically teleport us through the rift into the past version of Nuketown. And in this newer section, there's also a bunch of stuff you're going to want to do here. Once you have everything prior that I had mentioned, come up to the truck and then move it with the keys that we picked up earlier, and then head over to the Pack-a-Punch machine. This should be kind of floating in the sky, and there are these 4 rifts that are containing it. Once you shoot down one, you need to kill all of the zombies that are tethered to it, and just do that for each and every single orb. There should be 4 of them, and it'll only take you about a minute or so to complete. That will give you access to Pack-a-Punch, and that will be, of course, incredibly important for upgrading our boss gun and our blundergat later. But next, what we're going to do immediately after opening Pack-a-Punch is head to the top yellow house and then interact with this cabinet to grab the sealant item. And then we're going to also just drop right down the stairs, head over to the swing set, shoot this off, and then pick up the swing seat that will fall into the sand. And then what you can also do, if you did find your mannequin in that earlier section, we can then find that mannequin and then use the acid we got from the sink, throw it on its head, and the one that was humming in the other side should now give us a part when we come back. So head back to the exploded Nuketown and go find your mannequin that you put the acid on, and that should give you a part to the wonder weapon called the hammer. And then while we're here, we're going to look for 3 locations for, you guessed it, another wonder weapon part that is humming. Exact same sound you're listening for. The first location is inside of the yellow house garage right here. Just listen for it if it's humming. If not, don't worry about it. Second location is top of the stairs in the greenhouse. If it's humming, make note of it. If not, don't worry. Third location is in Trinity Avenue after you've opened up Pack-a-Punch, and if this is the location, which it was for me in my game, you need to go to the past version of Nuketown and hit it with some kind of explosion at that point on the wall. So a Semtex or a ray gun works really well. You blow that open, and then you should get a quote from the twins. You head back to the exploded Nuketown, and whichever, hole in the wall was glowing and you blew it up, then you should be able to get your other wonder weapon piece called the stock. If you've completed all of those steps, you should have every single wonder weapon piece, and then you can bring the blundergat over to the crafting table inside this truck, and you need to mail melee the box open and then place the blundergat inside, assemble it, and after a moment it should give it back to you. Now you have your normal blundergat, but we're going to upgrade it a little bit later. But before we do that, head back over to the swing set and place that seat on the empty chains. And then after that, we're going to be looking for an RC car remote. The first location is on Trinity Avenue in this corner near these like cargo containers. The second one is actually over here in the yellow house garage on the bottom shelf. And then the third location is kind of tricky to see, but it's in the greenhouse backyard inside of this dirt pile right in this little corner. Once you pick that up, it will automatically kick you into this RC car, and you just need to follow the path that I go on. As you can see, you just sort of push through the other side of the house, and then you need to come around to this ramp and make a jump over this fence, and then that should give you access to this little corner. You drive it inside, and then you explode it near this barrel where the garage door is, and that will give you access to a previously unopened garage door on Trinity Avenue. You should see this body kneeling down, and you need to pick up this head that's on top of the safe in order for this body to fly away. And once that disappears, it should leave some chalk behind after a moment, so go ahead and pick that up, and then you're good to go with the next step. Next, I'm going to show you how to upgrade the blundergat into the sundergat, which we need for main quest steps. You're going to look for a zombie like this that's in a fire tornado. This can spawn either in the greenhouse backyard, the yellow house backyard, or on Trinity Avenue. And if you're playing solo, in order to make this 1,000 times easier, before you go up to that zombie, I recommend just thinning out the round and getting it down to just a couple. Once you're ready and the round is low, go up to the zombie. It should come out of the tornado and initiate a tortured zombie objective. He's going to try to tether to other nearby zombies, and you need to kill them, the one that he tethers to, not the main one, in order to drag him as close as you can get to the blundergat upgrade table, and then kill him with the blundergat. That's very important. You have to use this gun. Your goal is just to make sure the tortured zombie makes it to the table and is killed with the blundergat. You're going to flip the round if done successfully and do the exact same thing. Look for that fire tornado zombie, get your tortured zombie, prevent him from tethering to others, drag him to the table, kill with blundergat. On the third one, you're going to get a normal zombie, except it's going to turn into a shock mimic. This is the last one and most difficult, but it's the exact same deal. Just prevent him from tethering. Again, this makes it really easy if you just get to the end of a round and do this, because there's not much to tether to, but you're going to kill the mimic with the blundergat at the table. And if you've done this, you should be all three successfully tortured zombies into the table. And then you need to head back to the past version of Nuketown and then melee the table open, place your blundergat inside, and then go ahead and jump back through the rift to the exploded Nuketown once again. Melee the table, pick it up, and then this should give you your sundergat upgrade. And this is the fully upgraded blundergat that you can now pack a punch, but we will need this for future Easter egg steps. After you've done your blundergat, go back to the yellow house backyard and place the chalk on top of the swing set, and you should get a little sequence with the twins, and they're going to give you some dialogue about the map. But once they disappear, you should be able to do your next step. Once their dialogue's completed, head over to the pack-a-punch machine, and you can see this like air siren, and you need to hit it with an explosive. A ray gun works fine, but also Semtex is good. You can see that blue item drop off once an explosion hits it, and then what you need to do is activate your Wisp T perk by killing zombies, and then Wisp T should automatically go out and then grab the item and bring it back in for you, and you should be able to pick up an item called the goggles right here. And then the next thing we need to do is grab a headset. The first location for the headset is right here in the corner, just behind these trash cans. The second location is actually surprisingly close to it. You just need to jump up here into the greenhouse, and it should be in the corner right there if it's, not the trash can. And if it's not at either of those two spots, it's in the back of the yellow house backyard right here in this corner in between the fence. Once you've collected those pieces, then you need to head back to the past version of Nuketown and open this toy box on Trinity Avenue and place the items inside. Once you've done that and those items are placed down, you should be able to do the next step, which is actually pretty cool. What you need to do, however, is pick up the seeds in the blown up version of the Nuketown yellow garage right here. You should get these irradiated seeds. Now, it's worth mentioning that if you're not level 54 at least, or you don't have tomahawks permanently unlocked, you will need a way to access tomahawks, which I was level 52. I kind of got locked out of them in my game, but if you run into that situation, if that happens, don't worry, I'll show you sort of what to do. But you need to head to the past version of Nuketown, place those seeds down in kind of this like a soil pit, and then you need to kill zombies with the sundergat in order to feed its souls. It takes like 50. It's actually quite a lot, but it's a fun little step, and as soon as you complete it, your screen will flash white once you've gathered enough souls, and then you'll be able to do the next part. Now, the tree won't grow automatically. It'll just be like this, but it will be fed. Now, what you need to do is get a tomahawk somehow, and I recommend just shooting these purple crystals if you can't find any. This is how I got mine, and you only need one. Like, you don't need a whole bunch, so don't worry about that. Head to the blown up version of Nuketown and then start throwing that tomahawk at the tree 3 times to get 3 pieces of strange firewood. Once you've collected all 3 of those, head back to the past version of Nuketown once again, and then place the firewood inside of the chimney, and then get a Molotov either by crafting one or picking it up, and then igniting that firewood. When the firewood is ignited, when you go back to the future, the blown up Nuketown, it should look like this, and then you head over to Trinity Avenue. There should be this white X on the ground in this section. Interact with it and it should start glowing blue, and then rush over to teleport back to past Nuketown, and this is going to initiate you a hopscotch step. Now, this is probably one of the most complicated ones in this, or at least the most tricky, but instead of just telling you how to do it, I actually want to help you learn, just a couple of things to help make this a lot easier so you can practice. What I recommend you do is start playing in third person at this point, and before initiating the game, practice a couple of times. Just get ready with that jump animation, because there are some recovery frames before you can, initiate another jump, so you can't rush this or do it super quickly. You need to take a half-second pause between each jump. But what you need to do is jump 1 to 12 in order while avoiding the black square. And you can see right here, that's exactly what I'm doing. I go 1 to 12, and then you need to go 12 to 1 again, doing the exact same thing, staying ahead of that black square. So you do have to be kind of fast, but you also need to be accurate. But you can do it with this cadence that you see, and then you should be just fine. And if you beat it, you'll get this glowing golden object, this music box to appear, and then you can start collecting souls into this with the Sundergat. You need to get kills with the Sundergat specifically, and you can see that every time you get one, a soul will collect into that music box, giving it more power to fly around the map. This step can take a little while because the route is kind of long, but once the route gets to the actual fire pit or the chimney that you were at, it should place the music box, make it manifest on top of the fireplace here, and then you'll see the Samantha music box, and if you see this, you're done with that step. Once you're done with that, we can do the next step, which is finding a ball around the map. So in the blown up Nuketown, we're going to find one of the locations right here on top of the yellow house roof. If it's not there, come over to Trinity Avenue and check the rooftop of this building as well. If it's not there, look across the street, and then on top of these crates, this is actually where I had it in my game, you'll see a ball on top. You don't need to use the blundergat for this. You can use any gun. You need to shoot the ball as I'm doing here, and then you should see it glow blue. And as you're seeing in this gameplay, all I'm doing is just dragging it along, pushing it towards the backyard of the greenhouse. That's it. Ether Shroud for solo for this step is really nice, just because zombies, will keep off you during this, or if teammates can hold a zombie, that's also really helpful too. But just push it to the back of this white X in the greenhouse backyard. And once that ball is in there, again, quickly teleport to the past version of Nuketown, where you're going to have another game to play. This one is a set of 4 square, and it's actually pretty easy. Once the twins draw the board, you can walk up to the ball and interact with it, and it's going to start bouncing. You just need to push it into a different square every time it bounces. You can do this diagonal, or you can just go around the grid like I'm doing. You just cannot let the ball bounce more than once in a single square. So if you just do exactly what I'm doing in this gameplay, you should have no trouble, and zombies will leave you alone during this, which is also quite nice. So just don't worry about, rushing this step too much, and it's not even that long. Once it's done and you survive that time, you'll be given another object. Once again, collect souls with the Sundergat. You should have a little escort around the map, and then that item will be made manifest inside of the toy box, and then if you see it like this, it should be complete, and you've done that step correctly. Apologies for this next part. I didn't realize I'd only recorded half of this step, so I'll show you exactly what I mean, but I'll try to illustrate this the best I can. Next, you need to go to the exploded version of Nuketown and go to the backyard of the greenhouse, and you're going to be looking out for a specific zombie called Piano Teacher. She's very easy to see, and she doesn't behave like the rest of the horde. She kind of wanders around, so even if you're killing zombies, you should be able to spot her, but she looks like this. When you've spotted the Piano Teacher, throw a sight grenade at her, and she should run immediately to the greenhouse piano, and as soon as she runs to the piano, go ahead and teleport immediately to the past version of Nuketown, and the teacher should still be on the piano, and it will look like this. And if she explodes right here in the past Nuketown and the piano starts glowing yellow, then you've done that step correctly. Somehow I managed to accidentally not record the first part of the Piano Teacher, but I got the important part recorded, which is what's next. Next, we're looking for 8 symbols. They all appear in the same locations, but the order that you pick them up in are going to be different. Because there's 8 symbols, each symbol is going to flash a number of times. If you're looking at one, it might flash 8 times, so that is 8th in your sequence, and you just need to collect them 1 through 8. So I'm going to show you all the spots where you can collect these, but they're going to be different in your game, so just follow along and you'll see what I did. My first one is right here on this back of the Nuketown fence. As you can see, it just flashes once, meaning that is first in the sequence. sequence. So once you confirm that's one, go ahead and pick that up. My second one was on the side of the bus right here. Flash twice. I'm going to pick that up. The third spot that I had is over here in Trinity Avenue near the mailbox. That was 3. On the back of the yellow house fence is 4. On the front of the Trinity Avenue garage was my number 5. On the back of the Nuketown bunker in the green backyard was number 6. Number 7 was the front door at Trinity Avenue. And then number 8 was the one on the back of the rock here near Pack-a-Punch. Once you've gotten all 8 sequentially, you should hear a quote from your character saying that you've did it right, and then you can do the next step. Luckily, this next part is the same every time, so go to the past Nuketown and interact with the piano right here, and then specifically hit the keys 8, 6, 7, 5, 6, 5, 3, 5 as they're labeled on the screen there. The tune you play will never change. That's the twins' favorite tune. So once you've entered that in, you should hear a little musical thing play, and then you've done that step correct, and you can move on to the next part, which you need to go back to the exploded Nuketown and look outside the map for these zombies that are just hovering in the air. They're sort of outside the perimeter, and they're kind of just floating as if they were in a fire tornado, but they're not. But these floating zombie souls, you need to shoot 3 of them. And once all of the souls go into the map, you should see them at this white square. Go to the past version of Nuketown, and now you're going to play a game of jacks. This is also really fun and very easy, but I'll explain how it works. The ball is going to bounce, zombies are going to spawn, and you need to shoot them as they go into the air and kill them all before the ball touches the ground again. So basically, you can see that I'm eliminating them before it touches the ground. You have a lot more time than you think, so it's not too bad, but you just need to make sure that all of the zombies that spawn from these shadows are killed before the ball bounces once again. You'll have to do 3 or 4 sets of this, and it is easy, but be careful to not damage the actual ball, because if you use an explosive or you accidentally hit the ball itself, it will probably automatically fail the step. So just be careful, but kill the zombies with relative speed as much as you can. But once that's done, it will spawn in another item, the musical sheet, and you guessed it, escort it, collect souls, let it get to the piano, and then that step is complete as well. Once you're all set up and boss fight ready, you need to set the clock to 0, 0. The white and the red hand should both be on 0, and then what you need to do is shoot the minute hand or the red hand right before you teleport. So you initiate one and then shoot the red hand like right at the very second before you teleport. And it's a little tricky, but if you've done it right, you should see an orb spawn in the sky, and this will actually be the final step. You need to go to 3 different locations where the twins are going to show you things. You don't really need to do anything here, just prepare yourself for the final encounter. I recommend pack-a-punching both your blundergat and your main weapon primarily to PAP tier 3, and then getting some Gersh devices. Once you interact with the twins and go to the final encounter, you're going to face against the Dark Heart. And I'm going to explain each and every single sequence because this boss fight isn't too bad, but you need to know what you're doing. So as soon as you spawn in, you won't be able to damage the boss, obviously. You need to go to each area, and you're going to see that these yellow cysts are back and guarding these black masses. And you're going to be tested on each mechanic that you've learned throughout this map. For this, all you need to do is collect souls into the cyst. Very straightforward. This is the easiest sequence. And once enough souls are collected, it will destroy the black mass and then revealing an artifact behind it. Then you need to do that in the yellow backyard as well. Once you've done it in the middle section, there will be 3 and they will always stay in the same spot. You need to get as many kills as you can here. And then once all 3 are open and the artifacts are revealed, the twins are going to spawn in a concentration field. And these don't have a lot of health, and zombies are going to try to destroy this. So you need to be really careful to not let this die. This is where Gersh devices really come in handy, or any kind of object that keeps zombies away from this field. The blundergat's also really good here as well, just for general defense, but you need to do that in all 3 areas. Let the concentration fields charge up, and once the twins are done with it, you move on to the next one. Once all 3 are complete, you're going to look in the sky and see that the orbs are going to attack the Dark Heart and destroy its overshield, making it vulnerable. At this point, you have a damage phase, and this is, obviously where your actual weapons come into play. If you brought in an LMG or an AR, you do have pretty good distance to get here, and you should be able to deal some pretty nice damage, but also the blundergat is really strong as well. But you have to be accurate, and you need to hit the specific vulnerable points, because not all of it is actually vulnerable. You can see that only the really bright spots in the heart take any damage at all, and essentially everything else is immune. So you just need to wear it down to about 1/3 of its health, in which it will explode and then go immune again, and you need to do another sequence. But this time, instead of the yellow cyst, it's just collecting souls and destroying the actual tether orbs. Basically exactly what you did with Pack-a-Punch earlier in the game, where you shoot the yellow orb and then it tethers to zombies, and then you destroy what it tethers to. Very straightforward. It destroys all the black masses, as you guys know. Pretty much same deal as before. This one is also really easy because it's kind of hard to mess this up. You just kill the zombies that it's attached to. The blundergat is absolutely amazing here. This one won't give you too much trouble. It's really just the concentration fields once all of the black masses are destroyed that you really need to look out for. That's the stuff that gets a little scary because these do break easily. And again, save monkey bombs or Gersh devices for the concentration fields. That's where you're going to get the most use out of it. But once all three are concentrated and charged up in the second phase, then you're going to get the exact same thing happen. The souls are going to attack the black heart, destroying its shield, and then you get another damage phase. However, the black heart has more attacks now. You can see that there are fire tornadoes and there are going to be meteors coming down from the sky and trying to destroy you. Watch out for the fire tornadoes specifically because they will slow down your movement, making you more vulnerable to zombie hits and everything else, but also it just completely tanks away your armor and just shreds your HP. So these things are very dangerous, maybe even more so than the meteors, but again, same deal. You'll deal enough damage, it will go invulnerable once more, and then you need to go into the third and final phase, which this one is the toughest. You're going to get tortured zombies that once again are going to tether to others that you cannot let die, and obviously you need to kill everything around it. Make sure that that tortured zombie gets close enough to the black mass that you see it start to tether. As soon as you see that yellow tether go to the black mass, you're safe to kill the tortured zombie. So keep everything else off of it as much as you can until it gets close enough to the mass so that you can kill your tortured zombie, without destroying anything else. Make sure to not kill the tortured zombie as it is a pretty big setback. But once you've, followed all of this, you revealed the artifacts, then you need to charge them up again. This process is, it takes a while. You can't really speed run through this because you have to keep going back and forth and doing all these things. But you get the idea by now. You charge up all three of them, and then you'll get your final damage phase in which you can completely destroy it. I do recommend if you're confident enough to use the blundergat here, it does a lot of damage, but if you want to play slow and safe, that's where I recommend something like a ranged weapon like your LMG or AR. It's just nice to have both depending on what's going on because the spawns do get crazy in the third and final phase, and also the attacks, particularly the fire tornado, are very dangerous. But as you can see, I'm just kind of going around and surviving, dealing enough damage with my blundergat to take down the black heart. And once that is defeated, then you have completed the Paradox Junction main Easter egg. Now, I'm not going to play you guys the ending cutscene. I'm going to save that for you to experience in the game. But as always, our team got first in the world. We've been first 3 times in a row now, which is insane. But I wanted to take a little bit of extra time to make sure that I make a comprehensive and easy to follow and understand guide for all of you. So thank you all for the support and thank you for watching. Leave a like on this one if it helped and make sure to subscribe for more content. Thank you guys so much and good luck. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.